Morning, everyone. Good to see you here. Happy New Year to you. And we will call the January 3rd, 2017 meeting of the Jackson City Council to order. And we'll call on Councilman Johnny Dodd for invocation and pledge.
Good morning. I'd like to wish everybody a Happy New Year also. Can I ask Pastor Ronald Ben from Mount Moriah Church, please, to come up and lead us in invocation?
Please rise.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nita, I think you can show all council members present this morning, with the exception of Councilman Bright. Item 4 is the approval of minutes of December 6, 2016 City Council meeting. Members received a copy of those minutes. Unless there's any additions or corrections, we'll just accept those minutes the way they were submitted. Item 5 is the invitation for public comment, and I'll simply let the audience know if there's any item under new business that you'd like to address the council on. If you'll let me know at that time, I'll be happy to call on you and ask you to come up. We have no proclamations this morning, and item 7 is recognition from the American Job Center. Carol Manis, will you come on up? Have a seat. You just introduce yourself and pull up a chair.
I'm Carol Manis. I'm from the American Job Center, and I want to wish you all good morning and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
And my main purpose here today is just to give you information about our center. The American Job Center is our newfound way of saying employment office, unemployment office, Tennessee Career Center. You've heard all those phrases. That's what we are. But we're new and improved, hopefully. We want to get out into the community and help people. We're boots on the ground, if you might, use that term. What I'm here today to talk about mostly is our career coach. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, or most of you are. I know Mr. Buchanan, whom I have the pleasure of working with each day, is aware of the career coach and what it can do. The career coach is a mobile American Job Center. We can go anywhere that we're needed to go. We can do anything on the coach that we can do in our building on Martin Luther King Drive. I'm here today. I've gotten some information here. I wanted to give you information to tell you everything that we do at the American Job Center. The reason I'm here today is because I want to challenge each of you to use us in your areas to get to people who can't get to us. We want to be boots on the ground. We want to be the street team to reach our target community, and our target community is anyone who needs us, which is unemployed people, underemployed people, someone who has worked for many years and maybe never had to do a resume and don't even know where to start. There's so many things that we can help with. Like one thing in particular that's close to me is that we help people who have made mistakes and who have paid their dues to society, but now find themselves unable to get back into society because of their barriers. We have the Work Opportunity Tax Credit. We have the federal bonding program that we can help these people get back into society and become a viable person. The American Job Center, we're here to serve the community. And It's a part of the governor's initiative to drive to 55. He wants everybody, 55% of the people to have some kind of degree or some kind of certification. But school isn't for everybody, so what we need to do is get into the schools, the high schools. We need to get into those places. We need to get into the at-risk places like Youth Village. We need to get these kids before they get on the street, before they become adults and make the wrong decisions. They've made wrong decisions as children, as young adults, but we need to get to them and help them and give them tools so that they will not make the same mistakes again. And I believe that the American Job Center has great potential, and that's why I'm here today, just to tell you about it and to ask you to use us in any way you see fit to get into your areas. And if you have an event, we can set up, we can help them look for jobs, we can help them with resumes, we can do workshops, and we would also like to get into the jails, and we do go into the prisons and do an outreach and help them get back into society. So I'm a little nervous. I guess you
You're
can
doing
tell.
great.
Doing a good
But
job.
this is something that I'm passionate about, and I would love to work with each and every one of you to get the word out about us and about the bus, and to reach our community and help them.
Okay, thank you. Good job. Say you've got some material that you
Yes,
would like to
sir.
pass out to council. Just come on up and pass those out. We appreciate what you do. Your mission is certainly worthy.
This is a little bit about a sheet on everything we do there at the center.
Thank you.
After the meeting, I'd like to know a little bit more about incentive tax plan you were talking about.
Because your office is in the state office building, right?
Yes, sir, we're on Martin Luther King
Thank you.
Drive in the state building, we're on the first floor. And we have some foot traffic, but the bus is gonna help us get out to the people who can't get to us. And we do have events, we go different places, go to schools, and I'm even starting some events very soon. We want to get with, I don't know if you're familiar with the Community Cafe, and the NAACP is on the other corner, and then you have the men's shelter, at Arms. Yes, we want to get all those together and do an event there on that corner and get the word out to people. We also work with RIFA. Because of their soup kitchen, we feel like we can go during that time and maybe reach some people who we wouldn't reach ordinarily.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Your contact information is in here as well.
I have a card I'll give you.
Get that to us. Thank you.
Item 8 is on first readings. We have an ordinance, consideration of the ordinance to amend the text of city zoning ordinance, Article 4, Section 23, under landscape requirements, under F, design specifications relative to irrigation requirements. Dan?
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
To you.
This is going to be a good year. I'm looking hopeful to it.
You promise?
I promise.
Amen.
I got a good source. This item was presented to the Planning Commission, and you have the materials pertinent to this text amendment. This is amending our landscaping provisions of our zoning ordinance in the section where it has to do with watering. There used to be a provision in the existing ordinance where, in certain cases, a business, if it was a certain size, could choose to use a water hose if the landscaping was in a certain distance from the building. But we found that that was not working very well, because when businesses get busy doing what they do, the watering wasn't taking place and the landscaping was dying, which is a part of their zoning compliance. So to kind of head that off, we're amending the text to allow to permit irrigation and taking out the provision for water hosing, since it wasn't working. So. And the
Okay.
Planning Commission has recommended this to you.
Okay, council has a copy of that ordinance. Any questions of Stan before we conduct the public hearing? Okay, this is a ordinance on first reading, necessitates a public hearing, so I'll open the public hearing at this time and ask if there's anyone present who'd like to be heard in support of or in opposition to the passage of this ordinance. Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and accept the motion for acceptance.
So moved.
Is there a motion? Second? We have a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions from council? Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Stan. On second readings, item 9, we have no second readings under new business. Item 10, approval to accept a gift of 10.5 acres of land from Delta Faucet Company for future expansion of the ballpark parking lot. We're still in, as a work in progress, negotiating, trying to get a convention hotel and convention center constructed at the ballpark, and if that does happen, obviously we'll need to expand the parking for the ball club because the hotel convention center would require some of the existing parking. Delta Faucet has agreed, and we appreciate their help, and especially appreciate Ryan Porter, the chamber, for his hard work in getting this done. Shirley, are you here? Would you share that with Ryan, please? Tell him we do appreciate his help. This is a dedication of property to the city, and this is simply a effort to accept that gift from Delta Faucet for that purpose. Can only be used for parking only.
Move the approval. Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Okay, item 2 is approval to donate 1.14 acres of land in Tiger Jones Industrial Park to West Tennessee Healthcare to establish an EMS facility. Stan?
Mayor, we've been working with West Tennessee Healthcare, trying to find some locations for some additional ambulance substations. They were needing one in this area, and they were also needing one out south to give them better coverage so that their response times would be quicker. And this is the location that we have decided upon in Tiger Jones. This is an area, because of the way it's situated, is not really viable for industrial development because of the way it's in the corner of the property. And so it sits well for the substation, and they have asked for the donation of this 1.14 acres of land. It's just south of Liberty High School, and they have asked us to donate to them so they can construct the ambulance substation, which will help with their response times in the area.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion and a second. Discussion from council. Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Item 3 is consideration of a lease agreement between the City of Jackson, the Jackson Transit Authority, regarding the building located at 429 East Main Street. That is the building where Central Dispatch is now located, and we need to renew that lease. How many years is that lease? Sam, you remember? 7-year lease, okay. Okay.
Move the approval. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
Under item 4 is the budget amendments. Val?
We have 2 budget amendments this morning. The first one is for the CEDC for salaries and benefits to get on the general ledger. The city will be processing CED's payroll, and they will reimburse all salaries and benefits.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Discussion from council. Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
The second amendment that you have before you today is for the ADA expense line item. There was not enough budgeted for fiscal year 17. Needs to increase this line item by $160,000 to cover the FY17 expenses. This will require a draw on fund balance.
Council made a full motion. Let me just briefly explain that. We are under litigation and a long-term plan to bring our sidewalks, all our existing sidewalks, under ADA compliance, and we've been able to do that with the help of the city crews. and they're still working on that, and made really good progress. I think we're maintaining our efforts in meeting certain number of linear feet per year in compliance with that litigation. So this is basically the funding asked for the remainder of the year.
Mr. Chairman, with respect to the ADA modifications on the sidewalks, what do we have in the budget for this year for it?
We had 150,000 originally.
Is that enough?
Well, we're increasing it by 160. This will bring the budget to 310 for FY17.
For the new construction and the repair of the old sidewalks with the ADA modification, is that gonna be enough?
Well, we do it each fiscal year, so they budget so much each fiscal year. It's not enough to do everything, no. They budget so much each fiscal year.
How many years do we have under litigation?
We're under a 10-year, 15-year plan to bring all of our sidewalks into ADA compliance.
And what year is this? Fifth?
Third year.
Fourth
Third year.
Council says third year.
Third year. But the lawsuit's
Legal
been
counsel.
settled, correct?
Oh, yeah, it's been settled. We still have a lot of work to do, obviously, and they're doing a good job. It's just gonna take a tremendous amount of time. We have a lot of sidewalks in our city.
Was this based on, the settlement based, I can't remember, linear feet per year to do, or a dollar amount per year? Yeah, I just thought about that when I asked the question. Should have studied for the pop quiz.
Generally, the lawsuit was settled, and then there was a question of how to comply and the terms of compliance. I think this is the third year of compliance. There are sidewalks that have to either be rebuilt or repaired. A lot of it can simply be repaired. If you have 100 feet of sidewalk and 2 bad sections, fixing the sections gives you that many feet. So it's that's one aspect of it. Then there's ramps, and there's a lot more geometry and engineering in ramps than I ever realized. Some of the ramps that we built do not exactly comply, and so that's an issue. And then there's a third component, I think it's intersections. But anyway, there's 3 components, and there's 3 different timetables. I'll be glad to get exact details if anybody wants to email me for that information. But it is a rolling compliance with so much per year and then so much cumulative. But the details I can't recall offhand, Scott.
Okay.
Could I just request that now, Louis? If you could just send that to me. I don't know if anybody else
You
wants to see it.
can,
I'd
and
like
I
to
may
look at it.
remember when I get back to my seat, but if you'll email me, I'll be glad to give you
We'll
a
ask Anita,
summary. Yeah.
we'll ask Anita to contact.
Now, hold it before you go in. The requirements are work done per year, not dollars spent per year.
Right. Because sometimes it may have to rebuild 100 feet from scratch. Other times it may just simply be upgrading or restoring. So it's a finished product.
I guess my question is, and this is maybe a mayor or a Karen question, is did we not contemplate these expenses? I guess the question is, why is this a budget amendment as opposed to us either discussing this or having this in the 16 budget or even later in the 17 budget?
Well, I suppose they had more to pour than we initially anticipated. Obviously, we're trying to get as much done each year as we can to get out from under the lawsuit, the litigation. And I think the more we do now, then the less we'll have to do on down the stretch. We could just wrap our crew up and wrap the concrete up and all the tools and let it go for 6 months, but I don't think that's a good idea. We keep moving ahead and trying to get into compliance with the ADA regulations.
Is this the way we handled it last year? I just don't remember. Did we do a budget amendment?
We did not
for
have to do a budget
16?
amendment last year.
Didn't
We
have
had
to.
enough in the budget, and I'll be more than happy to provide those numbers, and then I'll make sure that Mr. Cobb emails you the terms of the agreement.
Okay, thank you.
Move to approve.
Have a motion for approval.
Second.
And a second. Discussion from council. Council, please vote.
And the motion passes with 7 members in favor, 1 against.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Item 5, final item under new business, invoices over $10,000.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Council, please vote.
And the vote is unanimous.
There being no further business, meeting is adjourned.